Netflix is losing this overlooked $120 million sci-fi movie with Tom Cruise next week, and it's a visual treat even 13 years later. Like every major streaming service, Netflix refreshes its library on a monthly basis, which means rotating titles in and out to make space for new arrivals. As a result, even well-liked movies can quietly disappear with little warning, simply as part of the platform's constant content shuffle. One such movie is Oblivion, an overlooked sci-fi epic starring Tom Cruise, leaving at the end of this month, January 31st. Despite topping the box office during its opening weekend with over $37 million domestically and ultimately grossing $286 million worldwide, Oblivion never quite broke through to become a must-see classic. It's not really a sci-fi title that springs to mind when people talk about the best Tom Cruise movies either, and it's rarely the first recommendation for fans digging into his non-franchise projects. That said, whenever I talk to people about this movie, the same points usually always come up. It's an atmospheric entry in Cruise's filmography, supported by striking world-building and a premise that continues to unfold in unexpected ways. With Netflix's ever-changing library, you haven't got long left to stream Oblivion, so here's why this underrated sci-fi movie deserves a spot on your watch list. Oblivion is set in the year 2077, decades after a devastating war with alien invaders has left Earth deserted and in ruins. Jack Harper, Cruise, one of the few technicians remaining on the planet, is tasked with maintaining powerful drones that protect massive machines harvesting Earth's resources. Jack lives with his communications partner, Victoria, Andrea Riseborough, high above the desolate surface, reporting to a distant space station called the Tet. With only weeks left before he can join the rest of humanity on a colony moon, Jack's routine is disrupted when he discovers a crashed spacecraft containing a mysterious woman whose presence forces him to confront his fragmented memories. As he investigates, Jack uncovers worrying truths about the mission he's been carrying out and finds himself at the center of a struggle that could determine the fate of the remaining humans. You shouldn't miss Oblivion on Netflix. Before watching a movie you might not have heard of, it's tempting to check its Rotten Tomatoes score, and in the case of Oblivion, you'll be met with a green splat. But this is one of those times I'd say to ignore the reviews and go in knowing as little as possible. Oblivion is an underrated Tom Cruise sci-fi movie, and although I wouldn't place it on the same level as Edge of Tomorrow from the same era, it's still a watch I'd recommend for genre fans. Of course, Cruise shows his usual prowess in the action sequences, as always, getting hands-on with stunts like riding and handling a motorcycle at speed across the wasteland, which makes the movie feel even more thrilling. Beyond the stunts, Oblivion just looks good, thanks to its stunning visuals and Iceland locations that perfectly capture a sense of desolation. With a $120 million budget, you'd expect nothing less. And even if the story feels a little thin and lacks any real emotion, it's hard not to be wowed by what you're seeing on screen. If you do prefer to get a sense of reviews before watching, Oblivion has a critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes that reads, "Visually striking but thinly scripted, Oblivion benefits greatly from its strong production values and an excellent performance from Tom Cruise." This is pretty much my take, with Washington Examiner's Kelly Jane Torrance echoing that thought. The story here can veer into the preposterous at times, as stories of this sort often do, but more important, it provides Tom Cruise lots of opportunities to look cool. Big-budget original sci-fi is hard to find these days, but even with a story that feels familiar, Oblivion offers some imaginative concepts worth noticing. Joseph Kosinski, who adapted this based on his own graphic novel, clearly understood the world he was building for such spectacle. Thankfully, Tom Cruise is so much in his element that you're able to overlook the weak writing and instead focus on the glossy aesthetic. Anyone wanting to escape to another world will likely enjoy Oblivion, and it even has the potential to become a cult classic, maybe by the time we get to 2077.